Senate Republicans officially have less than 1 week to pass President Trump's cuts to multiple federal agencies. The president is ramping up pressure on members of his own party now to claw back roughly $9.4 trillion in approved spending. That includes funding for public broadcasting and in foreign aid. And the president says those who don't support his cuts, well, they risk losing his support and his endorsement. Let's bring in CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killion, who joins us now from Capitol Hill. Nicole, good to see you. What are the main sticking points for Republican senators on these spending cuts, and which appear to matter the most?
Well, I don't know that one matters over the other, because obviously when it comes to cuts, it kind of depends on which lawmakers, which constituencies you're talking about. You know, as far as some are concerned, all of them matter, especially from the perspective of Democrats. So, look, you know, at issue is that this rescissions package would mostly codify some of those DOGE cuts that we saw at the beginning of the year that ended up gutting, for instance, agencies like USAID, which was dismantled. Also, as you mentioned, it would include about $1 billion in cuts for public broadcasting, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which funds NPR and PBS, but more specifically, a lot of local stations. And that's where a number of senators have concerns about the impact, particularly on the local level, since a lot of these local stations rely on that funding for a good chunk of their budget. And of course, with respect to some of that funding for USAID, programs like PEPFAR, in terms of global AIDS, funding, that is of concern to some senators like Susan Collins of Maine. So that's why some are kind of not committing as of yet to voting for this package, although it will only require a simple majority vote, meaning that Republicans will largely have to carry this across the finish line.
But, Nicole, on that front, we saw President Trump threaten to withhold support for any Republican senator who will not defund the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Is there a sense of how much Senate lawmakers are considering Trump's threats when they're looking at which way they want to vote? And is the threat of facing a primary challenger real enough to sway their decision?
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. But I mean, obviously, in terms of the president's primary challenge threat, it's not just for voting in support of cutting public broadcasting. He is obviously, you know, telling a lot of Republican senators, look, vote for this package. Otherwise, you know, it's very important to me. But otherwise, you may not have my endorsement if you don't support this rescissions package. So it's certainly much broader than just the cuts to public broadcasting, to be clear. But, you know, obviously, senators have their own minds. They can make their own decisions. We obviously saw that with the president's big, beautiful bill. Some Republicans voted for it, some didn't. And I would expect that will likely be the case with this rescissions package. And certainly we saw with the big, beautiful bill, it did affect some senators as far as their decision making to a certain extent in terms of their political future. But again, they all have their own individual minds, their own individual constituencies. So I'm not sure a threat from the president will sway them one way or the other. It's more about what the impact is going to be to their local state or community that will likely drive their decision.
Yeah, a whole lot
Nancy.
to consider there. Nicole Killion, thank you very much.